Hey everyone, how's it going? Matt Jarbo here with $3 Theater, and my God, today we got a bit of information coming out of Kevin Feige concerning the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Never mind the nice Instagram video showcasing the official title for Spider-Man No Way Home. I liked how they announced it. I liked how they played up the whole thing with Tom Holland not being able to contain spoilers and how they more or less used it as a bit of an in-joke at this point. And the fact that Tom Holland did say today that if Sony and Marvel want him for 10 more Spider-Man movies, he's on board. Yeah, I think we all know that's going to happen, right? The current rumor is that he's going to be his high school trilogy, his college trilogy, his adult trilogy, giving him a solid decade and a half to 2-decade ride as Spider-Man for Sony and Marvel Pictures. And considering how popular and profitable that is, that makes all the sense in the world. So what do we know coming out of Kevin Feige today? Well, there's been a couple little pieces of information. One, people were asking him about an R-rated film. And this is a big one. This is the one right now there's a lot of controversy behind it, and a lot of people are not very happy, myself included, because outside of Deadpool 3, there's no current R-rated movie on the docket. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be, but it just means that it's not happening on the docket right now. So I know you're thinking, Blade. Blade should be rated R. How could Blade not be rated R? It is a vampire hunter slaying vampires. Vampires drink blood and they murder people. There's going to be a lot of murdering and dismembering like the original 1998 movie. What is happening here? And the truth of the matter is simply this, okay? What you have is a situation where violence nowadays is a lot more open in PG-13 ratings than it was back then. That being said, a lack of swearing and a lack of blood generally is what allows people to have that kind of violence within that PG-13 rating. Again, this is a vampire slayer hunting vampires, so I don't see that actually being a reality that can be achieved without there being massive blowback. And you're not going to want to waste Mahershala Ali doing a Blade movie and making a PG-13, goddammit. You're just not going to want to do it, so don't do it. Don't even try, Kevin Feige. But I think right now they're kind of weighing all options. They just got the director. They just got a screenwriter. They're just working on the project now. They're probably going to try to aim for a PG-13 script and see what happens. I don't think they should do that. I think that's a bad call. But we'll have to wait and see. Feige has not let me down yet. I'm always going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So there's definitely something there to pay attention to. Additionally, he did what he was asked a bit today about the whole situation involving the Netflix shows and what's going on with that. And what he had to say was actually something pretty positive and something that's quite telling in its own right. So for years now, fans have been campaigning to hashtag save Daredevil, bring Daredevil, Charlie Cox specifically, back into the MCU. Spider-Man No Way Home seems like the best way to integrate him in directly. And a lot of people have been believing the rumor that's going around that Charlie Cox has actually been on set and already filmed his scenes. We don't know till we see the movie. Just keep that in mind. But Feige today did say that people out there there's a lot of love, a massive amount of love for not only Daredevil, but Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, there's a couple there that are missing, but first let's talk about the ones that he mentioned. So just recently, Jessica Jones and Punisher did have their rights returned back to Marvel to use those characters in upcoming productions, which is great. Kristen Ritter says that she wants to do it, but she also just recently had a child, so she's going to go through that, then have to get back into shape for the show and everything else. So look, on that front, this can take a little bit of time. Have her cameo a little bit here and there. I think things would be okay. Luke Cage is great. A lot of people love Mike Coulter, but Mike Coulter is currently on that other show, Evil, I believe on CBS. And it's entirely possible that when that show eventually comes to its end, they might go and they might bring back him as Luke Cage, which would be great. Daredevil is pretty obvious. People want more Charlie Cox as Daredevil, but I was surprised by a couple factors. One, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wasn't surprised by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. A lot of people have been wanting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to fold into Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and looking at WandaVision and now establishing S.W.O.R.D. as being an actual entity that appears to be both terrestrial and extraterrestrial in regards to where they have bases. It's going to show us that they can expand those characters into that world and fold them into the mix in a way that is not going to be hindered by the former Marvel television lead, Jeff Loeb, and also his boss, Ike Perlmutter, which is something, again, here to consider. Jeff Loeb, no longer involved with Marvel TV, period, which is, it's for me, that's bittersweet. I thought the guy did a good job on a lot of things, but there were some misses. Now, the misses here are The Runaways, which was a Hulu show, and I think that just ended with season 3. I couldn't get into it. I tried. I just couldn't get into it. You also had Cloak and Dagger. That was, I believe, a 1 or 2 season run before that got canceled. And so those weren't mentioned at all. So I don't think those are going to come back in any form. Those are going to kind of be where they are over on Hulu and like Freeform, right? But there wasn't a mention of Iron Fist. Now, a lot of people out there didn't really care for Finn Jones during the first season. I actually am one of the few kind of defenders of Finn Jones. I thought he was good in the role of Danny Rand. I thought he did a lot better in The Defenders, and I felt that he did a lot better in Iron Fist season 2, especially I loved his cameo in Luke Cage season 2. Setting up a Heroes for Hire show had a lot of people hyped at the time when Luke Cage season 2 came out, and the two teamed up to take on Bushmaster in one of his drug dens. It was a good episode. It was a fun episode. So that was one of those things where they could have done more to expand upon this, but no mention of Iron Fist or Finn Jones tells me that there's probably going to end up being a recasting. And that's unfortunate because I do feel like the cast of that show did a pretty good job. They were just kind of hindered, at least during season 1, by one person. And that person happens to be Scott Buck. Now, a lot of people in Marvel fandom hate Scott Buck because Scott Buck sucks. He ruined Dexter in the last 4 seasons. He did the first season of Iron Fist, which was not the best, right? It was a rushed production. Let's be fair. It was a real rushed production. But not only that, there was another thing that was left out today of the conversation, and that was the Inhumans. That 2017 colossal failure of a show that IMAX spent $70 million to co-finance the first couple episodes of that show in order to put that on IMAX screens, trying to bring the Marvel Cinematic Universe and TV shows over to IMAX. And like, but it was terrible. It was god awful. If you've ever seen Inhumans, you know what I'm talking about. And that was Scott Buck. So no mention of Scott Buck's Iron Fist, no mention of Scott Buck's Inhumans. Clearly you can tell here that Feige is not a fan of Scott Buck at all. And that's perfectly fine with me. Screw that guy. He sucks in my opinion. So I'm okay with him not working on these properties anymore. So look, when it comes to, Marvel going forward, they need more R-rated properties. They need Punisher. Where the hell was Punisher on this one? I'm sorry. John Bernthal was amazing as Punisher. Team him up with Daredevil in another season. Give us that great dynamic, that great chemistry between those characters. Give them a challenge. And I think it would blow up in the right circles. I think it would blow up in general. But I understand what Feige right now is teasing a lot of stuff as we go through things, because quite frankly, that's what he's good at. And the people out there who are upset about the no R-rated thing, just hold your horses on that one, because I guarantee you that they're coming. Deadpool 3 is the one we know about right now, but eventually that one, you're not going to be able to move away from that. They bought 20th Century Fox in order to be able to push out R-rated movies through that studio and not Disney, because Disney knows how to diversify their business in order to play all fields. Remember, during the 90s, Disney owned Miramax, which put out Pulp Fiction and a number of other, controversial films, like one called Jefferson in Paris, which starred Nick Nolte. And as far as I remember, the hardcore Christian right-wingers from the 90s are calling it more or less Disney running a porno. They were against it. Disney is not the wholesome company that a lot of people, that they try to portray themselves as, and I think a lot of people trick themselves into believing that they are. They're a business, and they'll go where the money is. And if the money isn't R-rated with Deadpool and beyond, trust me, they will do R-rated with Deadpool and beyond. And look at even the Marvel Netflix shows. The Marvel Netflix shows, for the most part, were pretty brutal, right? Outside of swearing, they were rated R. You know what I mean? Like in the first season of Daredevil, Wilson Fisk decapitates a dude by crushing his skull in a car door because he's angry. And you hear it, and it's visceral. You don't see it, but you hear it. Look at season 2 of Daredevil when the Punisher escapes the prison and he murders everybody in that hallway. I mean, they didn't F around when it came to that show, and that is something that Feige knows fans are eager to get back to. So hold your horses. I think it's personally coming. We're going to have to wait and see. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Let me know down in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you for watching, and peace out.